Without further ado, at the magic of modern technology, we're going to take a gander at what's happening out to the west. You know, here at the Weather Channel, we love our coworkers. We really, really do. But there's a bit of weather envy going on this morning. Now, Matt Safer's the man behind the camera. Matt, if you can, from the toes to the hat, show what I'm wearing, okay? All right, one of these things is not like the other. One of these things just does not belong, because I want you to see what Mr. Mike Seidel, your friend, your pal, your buddy, and mine happens to be wearing. Mike, I love you very much, but there's a little bit of weather envy going on this morning. Back to you.
Yeah, and get this, Reynolds. Right now at Reagan National Airport, it's 79 degrees. Right here in Winter Park, 22. So you're 57 degrees warmer. Plus, we have a whole bunch of snow on the ground. So I'm not sure who drew the short straw, but personally, I talked to our crew, and it was unanimous. We'd rather be here than in D.C. sweating. So there you go, Reynolds.
There you go, man. We're not
Let's
far
talk
from your
about the
hometown, man. Not far at all. Hi, Tom.
That's right, and everybody's heading down to the beach this weekend. Heading down to the beaches this weekend, Reynolds, because it's been lousy the past 2 weekends. Back here in Winter Park, still a few snowflakes coming down. I want to show you how much snow we've had so far. Now, there's been some settling, but here in the resort, we're right about 9.5 inches of snow. And it all fell with temperatures in the 20s, so it's actually kind of hard to make a snowball. Let me take you back to yesterday, the heavy snowfall at the ski resort. Just around the corner, we're going to go back up there in about an hour or so. It's the last day of skiing here at Winter Park at the Mary Jane slope. That's the only slope open and the only lift open. And, boy, I think they're going to have a great crowd today for the final day of the season. Here's some of those other snowfall totals up in some of those snowtels and campgrounds in south central Wyoming in the mountains. As much as a foot of snow. Aspen Park had over 12 inches, and up on the corridor, the foothills, Genesee had just over 12 inches of snow. We'll keep you updated. We'll come right back here at the bottom of the hour.
If you want to find the opposite, you can do that. Magic of modern technology transports us over to Colorado. That's where you'll find along the Front Range your friend and mine, Mike Seidel, dealing with not only some moisture in the atmosphere, but a lot of cold air too. The snowman, Mike Seidel.
Yeah. Yes, indeed, Reynolds. 79 there, 21 here, or 22 here, so we're almost 60 degrees colder. This is the Fraser River. Nice to see it just roaring by here at the resort at Winter Park. And this snow's going to help out with the short-term fire danger and the drought, because we've had almost 10 inches of snow here. Some areas have had over a foot of snow in the foothills and the mountains, and eventually this will melt. Hopefully it's a slow melt, and that will cut back on the fire danger. Again, as I said, at least in the short term. Few leftover flakes this morning, and then by this afternoon we'll see temperatures climb back into the mid-30s. The ski resort here over there at Mary Jane reopens at 8:30 Mountain Time this morning. If you want to get your last runs in, this is the day with all this great fresh snowfall here in Winter Park. We'll come back. We'll head up to the ski resort a little later on this morning.
Well, meteorologist Mike Seidel's been watching the snow come down from his vantage point in Winter Park, Colorado, and he joins us now live with the latest. Mike, I was talking earlier this morning, seeing your shot kind of up against Reynolds' shot, I feel like really tells the tale of the two weather stories that we have going on right now.
Indeed, it's 22 here in Winter Park, 79 at 9 a.m. Eastern in D.C., and we still have a few flakes coming down. What I want to talk about right off the top, power outages. They are ramping up, not excessive, but noticeable. In Colorado as a whole, just about 60,000 power outages statewide. The top county is Jefferson County. That's in the western and northern suburbs of the Denver area, including Boulder, where they had 6 inches of snow, heavy wet snow, leaves on the trees, about 26,000 customers out there. In the city of Denver itself, we're at about 13,500 customers, percentage-wise low, but again, it's not good when it's cold. Temperatures this morning in Denver in the low 30s, heading up to the mid-40s. This lake, the ice skate on here at Winter Park, beautiful scene if it was maybe Christmas morning, but it's May 21st. We're only a month from the solstice and the sun coming up over the horizon. We're going to probably crack freezing this afternoon. That will really help the situation. And the snowfall's a godsend, lowering the fire danger and putting a dent in the drought, at least in the short term. So good news all around for skiers and certainly for the firefighters and the locals and the fire season. We'll come back. We'll go back to Reynolds and steamy D.C. coming up.
So you know we had to send someone, Paul, and I'm glad it's Mike and not me.
Well, I wish I could be out there, because we have a snowstorm. I've had only one powder day of the year, so we're going to send someone who doesn't ski or snowboard. Our Mike Seidel is live in Winter Park, Colorado. And Mike, I know the lines have got to be building. It's kind of rare for have such a popular ski day in late May.
It is, Paul. I wish you were here to enjoy the powder. This is your second latest closing, the last day here at Winter Park, and they're all lined up, ready to ski in May. Yeah, skiing in May. The lift's open here at 8:30 local time, so they're going to be going up here very shortly and enjoying some bluebird conditions. 10 inches of snow fell. 10 inches of snow. Our temperature right now is 26 degrees. It's going to go up just above freezing. I'm going to take you back to yesterday when we were getting just pummeled. This is late afternoon yesterday, and look at the snow coming down, an inch an hour. We were down to about a quarter-mile visibility. Just a gorgeous scene, and consider that it's May 20th, 21st, just a month before the solstice. Now, we do have some issues. Down in the Front Range, we've got power outages mounting from the heavy wet snow on the trees with leaves on them. That includes the western Denver suburbs, Jefferson County. Boulder had 6 inches of snow. Yeah! And good news all around. They're also happy because this snow is going to lower the fire danger. Boy, it's been dry up here. They're in a drought. So we've got all this snow. Hopefully a slow melt keeps the fires away, at least for the time being. We'll come back. I think we're going to go up the lift at some point. But enjoy the snow, the sun here in Winter Park, Colorado. Welcome back to the snow and the sun here at Winter Park Ski Resort. And I want you to check out the line here. This is amazing. Obviously, it's the best conditions they've had in quite a while, in at least 2 to 3 weeks. And the line goes up the slope. Now, they have about 100 acres open here at Mary Jane. Up at the top, you can't get to the top. They're not taking you that far up. They take you up about 11,000 feet. We're about 9,500 right here. Temperatures this morning started off in the low 20s. We're now in the mid-20s. And, we've got the sun angle now that's like mid-July. We're only about a month from the solstice. So it's certainly a day for sunglasses. I'm going to get mine, and a lot of sunscreen. That's one of the issues you're going to have to deal with when you ski this late in the season. 10 inches of snow, 10 inches of powder here. Now, down in the Front Range, we've had some issues with power outages right now, pushing about 80,000 power outages, mostly in the suburbs, west and north of Denver, where they had heavy wet snow. Last time I checked, Boulder had at least 6 inches on trees that have leaves on them. It wasn't so much a wind issue, it was more just a pure weight issue. Up here, the power is on, and the skiing couldn't be better. This is their last ski day of the season. The latest they've ever skied here is May 24th, back in 1998, and I was told by Jen in PR, Jen Miller in PR, that they went from 1998 to 2015. What is that, 17 years without a ski day in May. So this year, they're making up for lost time. They're anxiously getting on the lift, 5 at a time, going up the slope. It takes about 10 minutes to get up to the top, and it's turning into a bluebird day. Just a gorgeous scene. And you got to think, this is not Christmas. This is not spring break. This is the week before Memorial Day. Now, I want to tell you about the obvious consequences of this snowfall. It's eventually it will melt, and all the melting here goes into the Colorado River. We've had fire weather watches, it seems like, every day, and we're in a drought. Just about the entire state is in some stage of a drought. Right here, we're just abnormally dry. We're not even in stage 1, but we'll take the snowfall. And remember, the water goes into the Colorado River, and that ends up all the way down towards the Grand Canyon, Lake Mead, Hoover Dam. You know how low that is. And this water helps to provide drinking water for millions in the southwest California. Also helps the farmers in the Central Valley of California and also into Mexico. So you can't complain about moisture in May, and hopefully this will keep the fires away for hopefully all summer. To years ago, they had their 3 worst fires on record here in the state. Last year wasn't quite as bad, but get a load of the skiers. Boy, they are just stoked and pumped, driving in from the Springs, driving up from Denver. I think they knew that they're not opening tomorrow, so that doesn't spread out the crowd over 2 days. So they're up here, and I bet every one of these skiers is on the slopes until they shut down at 4 this afternoon. That'll give them 7.5 hours of ski time. So, Felicia, just an incredible day up here. I'd much rather be here than standing on the hot streets of D.C. with all due respect to the nation's capital. Felicia?
Definitely a pretty cool scene there. Thanks so much, Mike.
Snow right now. Live to Winter Park, Colorado. Our Mike Seidel is there live. And Mike, you're there at the ski resort, one of maybe only a handful still open in that state. But let's talk about getting there. How are the road conditions dealing with all this late season snow?
Hey, Paul. Well, the roads this morning were snow-packed, snow-covered. They had plowed US 40. But other than that, now we have the sun, and that's really going to do a big job. And these roads are going to melt off very quickly, even though temperatures today are barely going to get above freezing. Right now, we're at 28 degrees, but it feels more like about 60 with the sun angle and the snow out here. I want to take you back to yesterday when we got all that snow yesterday, last night, and look how hard it was coming down. Man, it was just snowing an inch an hour. Measured 10 inches here at Winter Park, a double-digit snowfall in late May. Not unheard of, but quite unusual. In fact, this is the second latest they've stayed open here at Winter Park. They've got one lift open. The latest they've been open is just 3 days from now, May 24th. So a great day for skiing. It's a bluebell day and good for the fire danger and the drought. At least in the short term, it really lowers the fire danger. Hopefully it won't be a very fast melt. In fact, it's not going to warm up very dramatically. We'll have temperatures here slowly getting into the 40s. By this time next week, they may get back up into the 60s like they were 2 days ago. I mean, what a turnaround. 88 in Denver and then snow last night and this morning. So just an incredible visual out here. And look at all the skiers lined up. It's about a 10-minute ride up and a 10 or 15-minute ride down. Then it's a long wait because they only have one lift going on the final day of skiing. Wow, these folks are stoked.
Go to Mike Seidel, who is in the middle of TAD right now. He's got snow coming down at Winter Park Ski Resort. And Mike, the skiers, snowboarders, they are loving a powder day, a bluebird powder day in May.
Yes, not only in May, but May 21st, 1 month before the solstice. Hey, Paul, I want to ask you, what's the latest in the season that you've skied?
I think I skied a day in late April in Kirkwood in California in shorts, but that was a bad idea.
What about me? Don't you want to know when's the latest I've skied, Mike? I'm kidding. I've never been skiing since I was 5, so we'll let that one slide.
Well, that's what happens when you grow up in Florida. But out here, they cannot believe it. I mean, this is the second latest they've stayed open. And granted, it's one lift. And look at the line. I mean, I talked to some folks. I said, how many runs are you going to do? They said 2, then we're going to go to the bar. There you go. So they've even got the restaurant open today. This is the last day of skiing here at Winter Park. Temperature now in the upper 20s. It feels a lot warmer than it is because of the sun angle. Here it is. The third week of May. It's like the third week of July. So you know how high the sun is and how hot the sun is. I want to take you back to yesterday when the snow was coming down. It was just coming down an inch an hour. This is yesterday afternoon, about 2 to 3 o'clock here in Colorado. And it just was adding up. We ended up with about 7 through dinner time, and then we picked up a little bit more overnight. So I measured 10 out here. There may be a little bit of settling. They've had as much as a half a foot or more in the western suburbs of Denver, but you go east of town and a lot less. But that snowfall has added up to quite a few power outages. We are approaching 100,000 customers in the state. Well, most of those have been in the suburbs of Denver, Jefferson County, up towards Boulder, where they had heavy wet snow on the trees with leaves. Wind was really not much of an issue. Back here, you can see what they're doing, just lining up, waiting to get back up on the lift, head back up the mountain. They go up to about 11,000 feet. They are not getting up to the very top on on this last day, but you know, Bluebird Day, 10 inches of snow, and this is going to keep that fire danger down in the short term. We were under fire weather watch here day before yesterday. Temperatures are about 70. It was 88 in Denver. Now we've got the snow, and it's not going to melt rapidly as temperatures will moderate slowly. By this time next week, we'll probably crack 60 up here at the ski resort, but it's not going to be a rapid melt. That'll help things out. And remember, all the snow that melts here goes into the Colorado River, and then that ends up going all the way down to Lake Mead, Hoover Dam, and supplies drinking water and water for the farmers in the Central Valley of California, the southwestern states, also California and Mexico. So this really has an impact on millions of folks. A lot of folks should be happy to see this kind of snow this late in the season. Unfortunately, this is probably going to be it for the snow, and then we get the thunderstorms in the summer, and as we know, Felicia, dry lightning can spark fires. So let's just keep our fingers crossed that this will keep the fires at bay for at least a few weeks or maybe a month or two, and we have a pretty slow fire season here in Colorado, and for that matter across all the West, because we've already had issues in New Mexico and California early in the season. Felicia, back to you from
that
snowy Winter Park.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. It looks like a good time there.
We'll send someone who doesn't ski or snowboard, Mike Seidel. He's joining us live now from Winter Park, Colorado. And Mike, you're up in the mountains, but I want to know, I see the evergreen trees behind you. They're kind of flocked with that snow, but a lot of power outages in the Front Range. So I'm assuming trees now are leafing out, and that's helping that heavy snow to bring down the branches, bringing down power lines.
Yeah, certainly in the Front Range and certainly in the foothills. The county that has the most power outages percentage-wise is Jefferson County. Now, that's the county in the suburbs and up to the foothills like Evergreen, also in the areas as you get into the higher terrain, just a little bit above downtown Denver. And in the city of Denver itself, 9% of power customers are without power. Over 100,000 customers statewide. These numbers have really come up since this morning as the heavy wet snow took its toll on the trees with leaves on them. There wasn't really a whole lot of wind, fortunately. Here we've got the conifers, the evergreens, and what a pretty picture. We'll take a scan up the lift, and you may see some skiers going up the lift and some skiers coming down and snowboarders. But look at the line. This is the last day of skiing at Winter Park. Second latest on record, only by 3 days, and they picked up 10 inches of snow, which is great for the fire danger and at least short-term impact in the drought. This will keep us out of a fire weather watch, at least in the short term, and we can all be thankful for that. In the meantime, I'm going to take the jacket and put it back in the mothballs. I say with confidence, until next fall.